My last video is about my visit to Buckingham Covers. This time, let's learn more about this company and the dealer, Brian Austin. Sorry for not telling you there is a part 2. I just wanted to edit the video as fast as possible and release it on the issue date of this set of stamps. The stamps of the heroes of the COVID pandemic. Personally, I love this set of stamps. They are well designed. They feature some NHS workers, of course, and certain more, and some lab technician, delivery driver. But I was surprised that there is no stamp of postal workers. Posties play an important role in the pandemic because they collect and deliver the test kit. Royal Mail decided not to feature their own stuffs on the stamps. Well, the designs were selected by Prince Charles from hundreds of thousands of artwork of school-aged children, but I don't think he has reviewed all the designs. These are the main stamps I ordered from Royal Mail. I'm still waiting for the cover from Buckingham Covers. They had sent it to the special hand stamp center, but that center is not so efficient. The second part is the interview of Brian Austin. My previous plan was to include this interview to my video, but after filming, I realized it could be a very long video. I don't want to make a 40 minutes video, so I decided to divide my visit to Buckingham Covers to 2 parts. The first part is the tour, and the second part is the interview. It was my first time doing this kind of interview, and I was very unprofessional. I prepared some questions on my notebook, and in the interview you can see I was always reading the questions from the notebook. Okay, let's go back to Folkestone, to the office of Buckingham Covers to learn more about the company and Brian Austin himself. Could you briefly introduce the history of Buckingham Covers and the founder?
We were founded in the late 90s by Tony Buckingham, but by 2001 he wanted to start another new issue service. I think most first day cover collectors will know him from Buckingham Covers, which he started producing in the late 60s. He tried retirement and sold Benhams, but say by the late 90s his idea was that he would travel the world selling better first day covers. By 2001 Buckingham Covers was formed and producing a new issue series, which we still do today. I say Tony sadly passed away 5 years ago. We're still owned today by Tony's wife Kath and their daughter Ellie, so they're not involved sort of day to day, but yeah, they are. They have the final say even today on all our covers, which is still quite nice to have that connection with them.
So the company is named after the founder, and it has nothing to do with the palace, am I right?
Not the palace or the county, no. That's people expect we're from Buckinghamshire as well, which is no, we're not from there, or we've got no royal connections, no.
And you're in Kent.
We are in the corner of Kent, Folkestone in Kent, yes.
What's your position and what are you responsible for?
Yeah, I'm a director now, so when Tony knew he was poorly, he put 3 of us in as directors. We've still got 2 of us here. So yeah, I started off in 1985 in stamps. These 37 years later, I'm now a director. Still kind of do a little bit of everything really. Production, the magazines, it probably takes up a lot of my time, talking to customers and buying and selling collections. We're always looking for new stock, and we're always trying to sell stock as well. So, you know, we want to be proper cover dealers.
And you were only 18 in 1985, am I right?
I think so, yes, yes.
So, why did you choose this work, and were you a collector at that time?
Definitely not a collector. Didn't know anything about stamps at all. I can come on to that later. I'm not sure that's a good or a bad thing if you're a stamp dealer. But you know, I was like everybody on the south coast. You were always working something connected with the harbour at Dover or Folkestone at that point. Everyone seemed to work there at some point, which I did, and I wasn't enjoying shift work. And through a friend, I heard there was a job coming along in this stamp deal, knew nothing about it, went for it, and got the job very luckily. And the first thing I ever sent out back in '85, it was the Queen Mother's 85th birthday cover, writing the envelopes out by hand, writing the invoices out by hand. So I still remember those two covers even when they come up today. And sometimes these are very poorly written invoices do turn up in people's collections. I'm thinking, well, yeah, that's even before we had computers then in the office. So generally, everything was done by hand then, which was, yeah, a different time.
As I know, 1980s was the time that stamp collecting overdid itself, and some stamps and first day covers had been overissued. And what was your experience as a dealer, and do you have something interesting to share?
I just think I think it's quite right, but I think by the time I joined, I think the real overproduction time was from 80 to 84, and I think by the time I joined, most of the lessons had been learnt there. There's not people now doing so many covers for stock. We try and get our figures right even now, and we never like to turn down an order on a new issue cover, but we try and get the numbers we stick right. I think that the period that I've been dealing, if there was another big boom in stamps, which we always hope for, people were looking for covers from that period or something to collect, I would say that that's the period to go for, because there are no stocks out there. There are nobody doing covers in big quantities like they used to be. So you used to be able to go to dealer, or you go to dealer now and ask for a cover from 1982, and they could show you 100. They would happily sell you 100 of them. But if you ask for a first day cover from even a few years later, sort of 97, 98, they might only be able to show you a handful. And I think that's how it's changed. So they're much harder to find. There's a real fashion for the moment for collecting different illustrations on pre-decimal covers, so pre-1971, and there are people out there and on auction sites, they fetch amazing amounts of money. But I think also that will gradually in time go through the 70s, 80s and into the 90s, and people will discover how hard the covers from the mid 80s onwards are to find today.
How did you get a chance to work for Buckingham Covers back in 2002?
Yeah, I was just looking for a change. I'd worked for Benham's then for sort of 16 years. I needed to move myself on. Tony was such a dynamic person, very passionate about the hobby, and that just carried on through the whole firm. Hopefully something we carry on today is, we are so enthusiastic about first day covers, and it sounds really corny, but it's kind of true, that we will fight first day covers corners at any point. If people say that PHQ cards are better or mint stamps are better, we will argue that first day covers is what people should collect, in a nice way, not in a pressurized way. And it was his passion, I think, and what he was going to do with Buckingham Covers then that really kind of appealed to me, and that chance to work with him right up till he passed away was fantastic.
Did you work just for one company before?
Yeah, that's right. No, but say from leaving school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And yeah, I kind of went for various job interviews and got a job in Dover Docks. And yeah, that kind of it probably was only stamps, probably even maybe as long as sort of, I would think when my daughter was born, I always put as the line actually in 92 that I kind of decided, and I was sort of 7 years into it then, that that's what I was going to do, and that kind of focused, I think, what I was going to do for the rest of my career. Now, yeah, that I pretty much say in any other field I'm totally unemployable now, but hopefully my knowledge of stamps means, and total enthusiasm, that this is what I'm going to do.
Can you share some experience in London 1990, 2000, the previous international stamp exhibitions? What's the difference?
Yeah, I think there were probably more people, and I think from the stamp show we've just done, the London 2022, what the organisers did was right. I think the crowds weren't fantastic, but they were okay when you consider what's gone on over the last 2 years. So I think the big stamp shows I missed, sort of the Olympia in 1970 and the 1980 show at Earl's Court, but my first at 1990, I remember kind of there were crowds there. There were lots more of the postal authorities there, which I think probably this show did miss. But that's going to happen, and I think the whole trade will pick up, hopefully for the 2030 show, that I kind of think that we'll get those back again. So yeah, I think the 1990 at Alexandra Palace, there was a little bit more of a buzz. There were probably a few more crowds, but that's fine. That it wasn't the same at Earl's Court in 2000. Again, there were the crowds on certain days. But then some days at the 2022 show, I think once the bad weather had passed by Tuesday, there were people back there, and I saw people running to get into the hall, which I thought was a great sign. And there were crowds of people around our stand as well. So that's kind of what you look for. So what I remember about 1990 show, it was just a very warm time. I'd never been to Alexandra Palace before, just amazing building. Love to get a stamp show back there. That was just such a great experience for a first international. Just the people and the customers you met, and the same with the 2000 show, just the crowds of people at Earl's Court, and just the amazing scale of it. At the Business Design Centre, it is a little bit smaller now, but that's kind of fine, that kind of works, and there is areas they can expand into. And I just hope for the next show that in 2030 there will be a little bit more of a grow and a little bit more of a buzz.
And apart from the London International Stamp Exhibition, what other stamp shows have you attended as a dealer, and have you been outside of the UK?
Yeah, being a first day cover dealer, I think in British covers that every place you look for, you can't drive anywhere without thinking about a postmark. And so I've been lucky to travel all over the place. So I guess my regular haunts in the last 30 years is the York Stamp Fair twice a year. And we've started doing kind of Salisbury show. We've done shows, Bracknell off the top of my head. We've done different autograph shows and first day cover shows at the National Exhibition Centre in Birmingham, Manchester. I've just been lucky to go to all these different places around the UK. Even strange, I was requested by a customer that was a member of the Astronomy Society in Wales, and we went down with our space covers to Cardiff for the weekend. Just a chance to do that sort of stuff. Internationally, I did the New York show as a visitor and a dealer, so we didn't have a stand, and that was, I think that was 5 or 6 years ago, and again out in New York, and that was just a great experience. And I think it's different because there's sort of two fairs. As a dealer, if you've got a stand like we had at the 2022 show, you do feel more loyalty that you've got to be back on your stand. If you just go as a buying trip as a dealer, that kind of you've got to, that's your job, and you've got to rush around, you've got to try and find everything you want, and you don't miss, not just looking for the bargain specifically, which everyone thinks you are, but you're just looking for something. With us producing so many magazines, that we're looking for different stuff the whole time. I'm asked quite a lot that if something's in a magazine, are you buying it? Well, normally the answer is maybe no, because if it's in the magazine, we've already got it. What I'm looking for is something that's not in the magazine. So I'm looking for more stuff like that, so something different that we can offer our customers in the next month or 6 months. And sometimes when we go to York, we're looking at a bigger plan where we're actually using that as our buying trip for the next 3 months. So we'll go up there and buy stock to go in our magazine that our customers will see over the next 3 months, and that kind of sorts us out with new bits and pieces.
Do you collect something now?
Well, not stamps, and that's kind of, I think maybe we touched on that kind of earlier, is I think I've always kind of thought that there's a line between a dealer and a collector, and I don't think you can be both, and I'll stand by that statement. It's a tricky one, but I think for it to work for me, in my head, I like to see that I can buy a cover for so much, sell it for a little bit more. I don't want the little bit in between thinking, actually, I might quite like that one for myself. So that's kind of I think if you've got that, it blurs the lines a little bit. I like it to be kind of black and white. And I know a lot of dealers out there can do it, and I just don't kind of understand that. I think it's got to be quite clear for me. It's got to be one or the other. And I have worked with collectors before, and for me it doesn't always kind of work out. They're all nice people, but that I don't think they can be dealers, and I'm happy for someone to argue and prove me wrong, but that's kind of my thoughts, is you've got to be one or the other. I think you can be a nice dealer as well, and you can be and all the collectors are nice, of course.
Here is your office, not a shop.
Yeah.
Yes, but did you have a shop before?
I've worked in a shop before, yeah, and again that's a lovely way in as well, is that kind of that when I first started, we were in another part of Folkestone, and the shop was a great experience, because kind of you never knew what was going to happen day to day, who was going to walk through that door. So you might have had, being a first day cover shop, which we were at one point, was so specialist that there wasn't any such thing as passing trade. A lot of people would walk in the door and be totally confused and walk out, but then we were at the point where people were making the trip down to see us, because there couldn't have been another shop like us in the country. And now kind of the office works, people are welcome to visit the office. It's tricky, and people do come down, but we're not kind of set up completely for it. But if someone's got an idea what they want, or people want to collect stuff from us, that's fine. We've got some stuff that's kind of set up that we take to the shows, but most of the stock is in the drawer, because stock control is quite a big thing for us, because we like, if someone orders something on our website and our website says there's 3 in stock, we want to be able to go to the drawer and see there's 3 in stock. We don't want to discover there's none in stock and we've got to discover where those 3 covers have gone to. So kind of that kind of people can look, but we are more set up for mail order, which is kind of has always been the backbone of what we do.
Was there more stamp shops before, like decades ago?
Well, in Folkestone, yeah, but probably sort of pre-World War II. I think, to my knowledge, I think there were 4 stamp shops in Folkestone. But when I started, there was 1 stamp shop, and then it was part of the same people as us, and we moved in our offices moved into next door to have a cover shop, so a stamp shop and a cover shop in the same street. Yeah.
So you don't have a shop now. Does it mean most of sales online?
Yeah, online. I would say part of our business online. As I say, most of our business is much more traditional than that. Even that we produce our Cover Lover magazine once a month, but we probably we mail out a magazine at least once, if not twice a week. Some of them are very specialised, only go for a handful of people, but kind of that people do like our magazines. Some sales on our website, and we advertise nationally on the big issue. So this year we've advertised in the national papers for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. We always expected that to be the big issue of the year when we saw the list of issues. So we knew that kind of there. So we've used that to attract new customers to Buckingham Covers, and now we've got to turn them into Buckingham Cover collectors. That's our next job for this year, is to turn them into regular customers. So yeah, we will, when we hear, we expect, we're in the lucky position that we get to hear about Royal Mail's issues probably in September before the year, so 3 months in advance for the general public. It gives us a chance to work on our plans for next year. So yeah, we've all got ideas. So if you said what's coming out in 2023, I could probably give you some ideas. I don't know. I know as much as you know, so that's fine. But yeah, we'd have some guesses. So for example, this year, if you'd have asked me last year, I would have said there would have been a BBC issue. So when they announced the issues, I was surprised there wasn't one on the list. So, but that's fine, because I took it that in 1972, which was the 50th anniversary, so I thought, 50 years later there would be an issue, but there wasn't. But then I think they probably covered that with the Only Fools and Horses issue the year before. So it's kind of there. I can kind of see what they're doing. But yeah, so you've got an idea of what you expect to see, but then that gives us a chance in advance to work on what we're going to do, and then we can start approaching some people and say, would you like to work with us? Which is what we try and do, because yeah, we just want to bring more people to Buckingham Covers and First Day Cover Collecting.
Okay, so could you show us some magazines later?
I can show you. I can give you the tour and show you some stuff that hopefully you'd like to see. Yeah. Cover Lover. So this is probably what we're best known for. This is where most of our sales. So we try and do a Cover Lover every time there's a new issue to be announced. These are kind of the ones most of the ones we've kind of done this year. So there'll be at least 1 Cover Lover a month that will go out. Normally a 64-page mag. Got the Rolling Stones as a test for me, the FA Cup, and the COVID Heroes.
So it's the latest?
That's the latest one, yeah, COVID Heroes, yeah. Yeah, so we always kind of try, the start of the magazine is normally lots of the new covers that have just come out.
Do people need to pay for subscribe?
No, not at all. Yeah, we will happily send them free of charge for 6 months. It's a hobby, people haven't got to do it, so kind of if people contact us and say we've had enough magazines, we'll stop sending. And we always kind of try and do everything as nicely as we can. Really. It's always been our kind of way. Also, we're not kind of the hard sell people. I don't kind of like to do it that way. I think people need to decide, that kind of that they can have standing orders and get every cover from us every time, but also we make it very easy. So if people all of a sudden they discover they're not a Rolling Stones fan, they can just call us up or cancel it online, so they won't get the cover. So I kind of think that's the way we like to do business. Is everything will be reserved for them automatically if that's what they decide to do, or they can just pick and choose the issues. So I think the only thing I would change, if you're asking that question, which happens so much, is that we try and get so close to the numbers we actually need. So if there's a cover people specifically want, order it early, because that helps us and it helps them guarantee the cover. That if you phone up a week after the issue date, the covers might be gone. So if you give us that a couple of weeks before the issue date, we can make sure you do get the cover you want. We try and get a signed variety for every cover. So we did the Paul Gascoigne covers specifically, because we had an agreement with him that he would sign for us, which is great. The Rolling Stones cover, of course, is tricky. That we'd love to say that we'll get Mick Jagger to sign it, but it probably isn't going to happen. So, you know, we kind of go out there and look for different signatures. So we've had the chap agree who designed the Rolling Stones lips. He's agreed to sign for us. But yeah, it'd be lovely if one of the Stones did come along and say they would sign for us. But you know, we were asked that question about all sorts of the music giants issues, which are great, or the Marvel issues that Royal Mail have been issuing. You know, it'd be lovely to get one of the big Hollywood stars to sign, but we kind of haven't cracked that yet. But you know, we're still trying, and we send out hundreds of letters a year to people to see whether they'll sign, and we get, you know, our response rate isn't 10%, it's so tiny. People just ignore it. We offer, you know, that we will donate money to charity of their choice, or to themselves, or to their foundation for every cover they sign. So kind of we try, and we've raised a lot of money to charity. That's the chance we had to work with the NSPCC. Childline has been our pet charity, so if people specifically haven't got a charity that they support, we suggest NSPCC is our charity, which has worked fantastically. I think our figure is we're over £125,000 since 2001, which is just fantastic. So kind of it's done, you know, through us and our customers. It's done fantastically well. In between, we try and mail out something a couple of times a week. So we try and do say an email every day, and then so there's specialist first day cover list. We do a sign list roughly once a month. We do flight covers. If a stock of royalty things comes along, we do a royalty, and then we do some more general stuff as well. So just kind of nice autographs, or just things in the general collectors field. So yeah, I think most of these have come out this year, which is, you know, that we do pump out a lot of magazines, but hopefully just to the people that want them. We kind of that we know from our information who's bought signed covers in the last couple of years, so they will get specifically the signed magazine. So we try and target exactly so it goes to the right people.
Okay, tell us how to subscribe.
Yeah, no, you can do it on the website. So yeah, just do it on the website. You can just drop us an email, give us a call, write us a letter.
Okay.
The same ways. Yeah, I kind of think our people are quite traditional, but yeah, we've got a fantastic website. So join the mailing list, just do that. That's fine. Yeah, or just give us a call. We'll say we're all based in Folkestone. We're not at some big call centre. So there's sort of 4 or 5 of us that answer the phone. You can even talk to me.
Okay. It was really a nice talk with Brian, and he has an interesting opinion that you can't be a good dealer and stamp collector at the same time. I have been thinking about it, and I think it somehow makes sense. I imagine if I would be a dealer, of course I will buy some stamps and covers and sell them in a higher price. But because I am a collector, I'm tempted to keep something for myself and not willing to sell them, which makes me a terrible dealer. Tell me, what do you think about this? And I think I should talk to someone who is both a collector and dealer about this issue. And I was surprised that there are still many people order stuff from their magazine. And there are some magazines I got from Buckingham Covers, and generally they listed the covers they are selling. And the last page is the order form. People just list the item they want and send it back to Buckingham Covers to make the order. I will try to order a cover with this traditional way as well. Okay, I'm going to place an order. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe and follow me on social media if you haven't. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.